Hello, Cookers. Welcome to my fictional world. Don't forget to subscribe. A middle aged man was lying on his bed like a lazy cat. Quills were kicked off his body, revealing his muscular, sculpted body to the warm wind. Saturday, the only day to take rest and sleep like a cat. Unfortunately, today is Saturday. It was already 10:15 here, but the loud ringing sound of his mobile phone interrupted his precious sleep. He groaned, still closing his eyes shut, searching for his phone on the messy bed. After finding his phone, he was about to receive when the call ended. He sighed and fell back, not bothering to call back. Lazy. The phone rang again and again. He placed his phone on his ear, receiving the call without checking the ID. He answered in his sleep hoarse voice. Hello. Good morning. Is this Mr. Min Yoongi? The other sounded unsure of what else to say. Yoongi, you called me to ask this? That too in this morning. He groaned harshly, angry for disturbing his sleep. His anger doubled when he heard a soft chuckle from the phone. I'm sorry, I never knew 10 a.m. is early in the morning. Yoongi huffed, hinting he is not impressed with the sarcasm. Mr. Min, are you free? The person was asking politely, noticing the other's distress, but this man, being grumpy as always, interrupted. No, I'm busy sleeping. Good night. Yoongi ended the call and dipped his face in his pillow, drifting to sleep again. Time skip. Yuki sat on couch sipping his hot evening coffee. A soft voice screamed in his ears, making him jump. Yoongi, you little brat, where have you been? He asked his daughter. She giggled and sat beside him, leaning on his dad's shoulder lovingly. I was at Yoonjin's house, trying to soothe him. Yim said, taking his father's phone. Why? Yoongi asked, placing his cup aside, caressing his daughter's hair softly. A guy bullied him, so I punched the bully hard. But then it turns out to be that bully was his secret crush. She said, breaking into laughter, so as Yoongi. That's how she was brought up by him, though he was a single parent, to give her everything along with courage and toughness. Yim, oh my god, did my teacher call you? She shouted, jumping off the couch. Yoongi's eyes widened. Was that person her teacher? He behaved rude towards the other in the morning. Yoongi felt so flustered. He snatched his mobile and dialed the same number without thinking twice. Dad, put it on speaker. Yim pleaded as if begging. Yoongi furrowed his eyebrows but did the same as she asked. Hello, a sweet voice greeted him. Sorry, Mr. Yoongi trailed off, unable to recall the other's name. He turned towards him, asking for help. She faced palm and mouthed Park. Oh, Park, I mean Mr. Park. I was rude to you earlier. I'm extremely sorry. Yoongi muttered, trying to sound sweet. Mr. Min, I was wrong for calling you in an inappropriate time. The person on call served with a soft chuckle. Yoongi, so sir, what's the matter? I mean, why you called me? Sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Park Jimin, your daughter's Min class teacher, and I called you to meet me at my office on Monday. Yoongi, may I know why? Jimin, it's about Yim. Yoongi, did she do anything wrong? Yoongi asked, eyeing Yim, who shifted her gaze off him, tiptoeing for no reason. Jimin, maybe something like that. Be there. Sure, thanks for informing me. Sorry again for troubling you. Have a nice day, sir, Yoongi said, rubbing his chin. It's fine, you two have a pleasant evening, Mr. Min, Jimin said as he ended the call. Yoongi looked at Yim, who stood at the center, tapping her foot with nervousness. So did my brat did anything wrong? Yim, I cutted Yuna's hair into half. She always nagged me, saying my hair's shorter than her, so I just chopped it off equal to my length. Wrong. You should have chopped more so that you could tease her the same, Yoongi said, pointing his finger seriously. Yim giggled, so has Yoongi. She hugged him tightly, smiling like a full moon. Yoongi did the same while rubbing her back. She just reached up to his chest, her smiles replaced with nervousness, clutching on her father's hand. Yoongi already noticed his daughter's distress. He knew that she did something crazy, like always, but still he had to wait till Monday to know the truth. Yoongi was just 15 when he was given a tiny bundled up baby like a soft ball of fur. His entire life changed from that moment. Yoongi was a normal teen like all. His father was a military officer, also a very strict father. He lost his mom when he was just an year infant. He had elder sister too. As they grew up, Yoongi loved and cherished his sister so much that she became his life. His sister was a whole world for him. His sister, who was just 17, got pregnant with a boyfriend. When Yoongi's father found about it, he kicked her out of his house. For him, she was a disgrace. Yoongi tried a lot to stop him, but he couldn't. He rented an apartment far from there with the help of his friend and his sister's boyfriend. Her boyfriend was also a minor, so he requested her to abort the kid. Because he was not yet ready to be a father, she was against it, so the boy had no choice than to retreat his request back. But he loved her so much. Unfortunately, one day her boyfriend died in an accident, and then she was left all alone. On her labor, Yoongi stood beside her sister the whole time, holding his fragile sister's hand. He was just 15, so he couldn't handle the pain in her screams. His heart was getting numb witnessing the horrible scene. He was terrified and scared at the same time. Hearing and seeing labor is not that easy. That day, a new Yoongi was born along with the baby. Yoongi can never forget the moment he first time saw the blooded tiny body of the baby. Just after the baby was born, his sister kissed the crown of the baby and Yoongi for the first time and died. Yoongi, I'm sorry that I have always been a burden to you. I know you will forgive me. Please take care of her and don't cry now. I'm going to see mom. Take care of yourself. I love you both and love you, brother. This was the last word of his sister. The first and the last time Yoongi cried was only on her funeral. She was her everything. He never knew much about his mom because he always saw his mom and his sister only. He named the baby Yim after his beloved sister. Yoongi started taking care of the baby, but his father objected it. He had no choice to come out of his house. Yoongi quit his school and started doing his schooling in correspondence to give his full attention to the newborn. He did many part-time jobs to provide him all her needs. Yoongi brought her up alone. It was her first day of joining when he was just 18. That's when he officially became a father. The word Appa from Yim's mouth was enough to make him fly with joy. Yoongi got graduated and found a decent job as a software executive. He gave her everything along with unconditional love, care and courage. Now Yim is 14. Yoongi was working very hard to provide her the best studies in a top university. Yoongi was a great single father. Yim sat outside Mr. Park's office waiting for her father. Her heart was thumping loud. More than scared, she was nervous. She was clenching her fist tight. If she was given another chance, she will definitely strangle Lucy to death. After all, everything was supposed to be kept as a secret. The letter was not be given to Mr. Park. That shit. Sorry, was I late? Yoongi asked, jogging to her. She lifted her head with disappointment and shook no. She was expecting him not to come at all. They both walked inside the office after getting Mr. Park's permission. Yoongi was surprised to see his daughter's teacher to be a young, handsome man. They had always heard about Park Jimin. Yim every day talks about him. Her friends always literally nag Yoongi about how smart, cool, innocent, and kind Mr. Park is. Yoongi never showed interest in knowing about this person, but now he is very much impressed. Yoongi, hello Mr. Park, good morning sir. Both greeted simultaneously. Jimin, hello. Yoongi, good morning. Please take your seats. Jimin greeted politely, directed them towards the seats. Jimin had the same feelings about the other. Though Yoongi and Yim looked alike, both seems to be siblings more than father and daughter. Jimin, Mr. Min don't seems to be that old to be Yim's father. Yoongi, what does Mr. Park thought about my daughter's father to be? An old bald short man with a big tummy? Yoongi asked sarcastically, but stopped and smirked with Jimin's reply. Indeed, Jimin said softly, his cheeks turning pink. Yoongi, so Mr. Park, did Yim do anything wrong? Actually, I already know about she punching a guy and also chopping Yuna's hair. He said generally, shrugging and looking at Yim, who was staring at her fingers, finding her clear-cut nails more interesting. Is it? Jimin asked, shocked. He never knew anything all about this. No kid complained anything about this. We don't know. Jimin shook head as no. Yoongi chuckled bitterly. Did I complain about my own daughter now? Then what it is, Mr. Park? Yoongi asked straight, coming to the point. Jimin shifted his seat after seeing Yoongi's friendly nature. Jimin decided to tell him. It's about your daughter's proposal. I mean, she proposed me. What? Yoongi shouted, slamming his fist hard on table. His eyes turned dark with anger in just a split of a second. He turned towards him, who was crunched in her seat, tears trying to drop from her eyes. Yim had never seen Yoongi this angry before. She was scared. You proposed a man around your father's age? Is this the way you always praise him in front of me, huh? Yoongi screamed, getting up from his seat, his voice vibrating around the four walls. Jimin was lost in words. This man is so ill-tempered. After looking at Yim's frightened position, he was doubting his decision. Look, Mr. Min, but Jimin was yet not said anything. What do you want to say now? Yoongi hissed, kicking the chair, startling both persons in the room. Jimin, control your temper. Indeed, she proposed me, but not as what you think. She is like my kid too, he said, smiling. Why don't you read the letter received? Jimin said, handling a light pink-colored folded paper from his drawer. Yoongi snatched it. His eyes trailed down the word. He stood dumbfounded. The letter. Dear Mr. Park, I have only one wish, a stupid wish. Though I know it's impossible to begin with, I still wish my dream come true. As you have heard, my father is a single parent. He had only lived for me all his life. He never wanted to marry because he thinks if I get a stepmom, she would not care for me and love me as a real mom does. I will always stay beside my father and get rid of his loneliness. But I can't get rid of the emptiness his heart feels. He definitely deserves love. And what if someday I go away and make my own life? Though I will visit him every day, but still he feels like a loner. And I don't want to happen. He doesn't have many friends because of his rude temper. Then how can someone approach him and fall in love with him? I just want my father to get a lovely person who will always love, care for him all his life. I promise my father will reflect the same emotion with double impact. I always want a partner for him that can make us feel like home and make us complete like a beautiful family. He should be soft-hearted and should have the ability to suppress my father's anger. I have been in hunt of a new mom for a year until I saw you. You both could make me feel safe and lovable in all aspects. Then why not you both become my parents? Please, Mr. Park, be my apple. If you agree, we both could convince my father. Yoongi's eyes were still drilling on the piece of the paper in his hand. He had no idea whether he should laugh or cry for his daughter's train of thoughts. Now he knew why Yim's friends used to coax and nag him about Jimin. Yim hugged his arm tight, unable to tolerate his father's deadly silence. Yoongi slowly turned towards her and patted her head softly, with his heart getting soft. Yoongi, my little brat, I don't know how to start my words with, but you really surprised me today. You know, I never felt alone because I always had you beside me. If one day you leave me alone and go with your life, do you think I will feel empty? Of course not. Knowing you are happy with your life, how can I feel sad and make you worried? Yim, you are the best daughter in the whole world. I'm very blessed to receive you. And if you really want me to get married, why not to ask me directly? Why to embarrass your teacher? Now say sorry to Mr. Park. Yoongi lifted her chin high and wiped her tears, his eyes glowing bright with all kinds of emotions. Yim was his daughter, but more than that, she was his sister's memory. Papa, I want you to stay complete. I don't want you to feel alone and empty, Yim said, breaking into tears. Yoongi, who said I'm not complete? As long as I see you happy, I'm always complete. You are my special gift from God, Yoongi declared, rubbing her back. After a long pause of silence, Jimin's point of view. Jimin's eyes were still locked on Yoongi. After all, he saw two sides of him at the same time. He is such a great father. Now Jimin wonders where Yim's mom actually is. She is very unlucky lady to miss such a beautiful family. Is Yoongi widower or divorced? Yoongi, now stop crying, say sorry to your son, and go back to class. I will make your favorite sweet and sour ribs. Bring your team too. I have things to speak, he said, smiling brightly. Yim stood confused. She meant every word in that letter. As the matter had already came this far, why can't she speed it up a bit more? Papa, what I wrote in go to class, Yoongi said, showing her the door, slightly pushing her forward. Yim, but I really want both of you to be my parents. Yoongi, who said I like men? This question made Yim go off. You know, as if knowing her distress, Yoongi smiled brightly and shook his head in no. Jimin and Yim both were trembled as if they both were hit with a bucket of cold water. Yoongi, sorry Mr. Park, I apologize for my daughter's misbehavior. I feel very stupid for acting so rudely. Please forgive once again with your kind heart. I'm already late for work, so please accept my apologies. See you later, sir. Yoongi bowed and apologized before walking out of the room. Jimin stood there, still, his face burning red. Did he felt his heart skip a beat? No, never before once in his life. But now Yoongi smiling at him made him hold his breath tight. Jimin was caught in the matter of love at first sight. In class, how did all go? Yunjin asked eagerly. Even May and Zoa were waiting for her response. My father is strict. But yeah, of course, he lied. After school, Jimin was walking back home. He had not been himself a whole day. His concentration was doomed that he didn't hear the shouts from Yim, who was running behind him for so long. Yim bumped into him hard, making him jolt towards her. He turned behind with his same gentleness. Sorry, sir, I have been calling for you since so long already. Yim apologized, breathing heavily. Jimin, I didn't notice. So, Miss Yim, what's the matter? Yim, sir, will you give me your 5 minutes? Please, I need to tell you something very important. Jimin, sure. So, Yim, what it is? If this is something about your wish, then drop it down, Jimin said sternly, looking into her eyes, cause he knew nothing is going to happen. He is not my real father, Yim spit. Jimin widened his eyes with surprise. He felt so bad when Yim started to cry all of a sudden. Her sobs were so sad. He sat beside her to comfort her. She clenched him hard, hugging him tight. The emotion in Jimin's eyes was so expressive. Tell me, what do you mean by that? Jimin asked softly. Yim was one of his best students. Though she was naughty, yet she was humble to everyone. He always liked Yim. This little kid always reminded him of his mother. He's my uncle. Yim sobbed and told the whole story to Jimin. With every word she spoke, Jimin's heart started to sting for that straight man more. Unaware to himself, Jimin was starting to fall for Yoongi, who is making him go crazy from the moment they met. Yim cried for so long already, her tears were leaking continuously. She had kept this secret in her small heart for so long. Even her hiccups increased with her sad sobs. Yim, he used to feed me every day till I was 10. He used to tuck me to the bed, comb my hair, play with me, take me out. He did all the things more than what an actual father will do. He never beaten or scolded me. Today was the first time in my whole life I saw him this angry. He used to study at late night. He skipped his own habits, meals, and happiness to give me everything. He gave up on everything to give me and my mom love. Him's tears and sobs continued for so long. But how did you know? Jimin asked, handling her the water to drink, tucking her hairs behind her ear with another hand. An year ago, her grandpa came to meet me. He is the one who told me everything, and he also asked me to take care of my father. He stayed the whole day with me. He even brought sweets for me and told me many stories of my father's childhood. Then later, thinking a lot about that, I realized he was my own grandpa. He smiled sadly. Jimin nodded in understanding. Jimin had no word to describe his feeling towards Yoongi. It's been just a day, but Yoongi already stolen his heart. He felt like he will miss his entire life if he doesn't see Yoongi. How can anybody be so selfless? He sacrificed his entire life to give his sister's kid everything. Jimin's heart was thumping just with the thoughts of Yoongi. He was so confused and happy. Jimin was happy with just the thought of Yoongi. A small smile carved on his lips, but it vanished. He's straight. But why you said all this to me? Jimin asked, suppressing his aching heart. Yim stared at him indifferently. Yim, sir, why I will say this to a teacher? I'm saying this because please love my father and don't lie. I know you like my father too, and also that you are interested in him. Lie, Jimin asked, his heart beating in a fast pace. In her whole sentence, he only heard only this single word. Yim smiled and nodded. Grandpa said that he was not interested in dating any girl in his teens. One boy proposed him, and my father liked him too. But after his mom's incident, he became numb, so he doesn't got in any relationships. Jimin was flying in air. His cheeks were turning pink. He got some hopes after all. Yim was pleased to see that reaction. Sir, are you ready? Yim asked, smiling at him. To convince your father, Jimin mumbled softly. Yim screamed with happiness and jumped on her teacher for a tight hug. Finally, she got a new dad. Jimin hugged her back softly, caressing her hair. Mr. Min Yoongi, you already gave me a sweet daughter, but when will we start a new life as a family? Hope you realize my feelings.